Hey guys, this is Bird from Inside Outline and welcome back to another Cricut video. In today's video, I will be showing you how to make this happy birthday Cricut shaker cake topper. So let's jump right in. So what you want to do first is to go to my website, InsideOutlined.com, sign up to my free resource library and get this SVG file. A link to my free resource library is down below in the description box. So once you have that SVG file downloaded to your device, what you want to do is to click the upload button, upload image, and I'm just going to find that SVG file on my computer and drag it into Cricut Design Space. And this is what it looks like. So then you will click the upload button and then click on that SVG file. You should see a green box highlighted around that image and then click add to canvas. Okay, so this is your Cricut shaker cake topper, and you can switch up any of the colors that you want, but as you saw in the intro video, these are the exact colors that I use. Obviously, you can switch up your colors if you want to. What I'm going to do is to ungroup this design so that I can show you what all the layers are. So I'm going to come over here and click on ungroup, and then I'm just going to pull some of the pieces to the side. So this yellow layer obviously is the topmost layer and it goes on top of that blue outline. This is the blue outline and this is your yellow outline. So I'm going to scoot those over, and then you have your happy birthday text, and I'm going to use adhesive vinyl for this part. And then you have your outlines of the happy birthday. So I'll just drag those over here, and there are 3 of those. And then you have your red 3D layers, and there are 3 of those layers as well. And then you have your gray area or layer, which is your acetate, which is clear plastic. So these are all the pieces for your Cricut shaker cake topper. Obviously, I'm gonna show you all the materials that I use, but this is the design space aspect of creating that cake topper. So what I'll do now is to click make it. Okay, so this is the acetate. This is your adhesive vinyl, and it looks like we need to go back and attach this together so that it can cut the way it's supposed to. So I'll click cancel here. And then move all these pieces out of the way. So select your text and then come down to the bottom and click attach. Okay. And so then you will click make it. Okay, so this is your acetate. This is your adhesive vinyl. And then these are your cardstock pieces. Quite honestly, you can bring one of these on the inside of that circle if you want to save some space. Because all that you will need is this outline. You won't need that inside piece. So this is just a way for you to save a little bit of materials, but if you want to, you can just pull that back outside of there. This is the blue layer, and then this is your red layer. You may need to cut your red layer on 2 sheets of cardstock if you're using 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So what I'll do now is to click continue. And then my Cricut machine is connecting to Design Space, and I am using my Cricut Maker 3. So what I want to do is to click Browse All Materials, and then I'm going to search for acetate. And I just choose this first acetate right here, and then I'll click Done. And then I'm going to hop over and show you all the materials I'm going to be using, but just wanted to point out that for the acetate layer, you can just click acetate. For the rest of my cardstock, I use this medium cardstock, which is 80 pounds. And then for my adhesive vinyl, I just use the premium outdoor vinyl. So what I'm going to do now is to hop over and show you all the materials I'm using, and then we'll start cutting out our pieces for this Cricut shaker cake topper. So these are all the materials that I'll be using for this shaker cake topper. I have my glue gun, hot glue gun, double-sided foam tape, some thin kind. I have my Barely Art glue, some acetate, confetti, and then my cardstock. So what I'm going to do is to put the acetate down first and cut it And then I'm just going to fast forward through cutting out all the pieces, and then I'll come back when I am putting everything together. So here are all the pieces that have been cut. I have my blue layer right here, then there's that yellow outline, my adhesive vinyl, and then I also have those 3 layers or outlines of the happy birthday, and then I have the 3 3D layers and the acetate as well. So what I will start doing is to take my double-sided foam tape, and then I also have these squares, double-sided foam squares. I got these from Dollar Tree for $1.25. I will use some of those later on for the happy birthday outlines, but as you can see, I'm just setting up everything on my work area. So I'm going to start with the 3 red layers, and what I'll do is I thought I was going to start with those small pop dots, but I decided to just use that thicker double-sided foam tape, and I actually get this from Dollar Tree. It's 3 different rolls in a pack, and what I'm gonna end up doing is to use my scissors to cut the pieces the length that I want them to be, and then I'm going to use those pieces instead of the pop dot adhesives. So right now I have my scissors, and I'm just about to start cutting those pieces of double-sided adhesive foam tape. I went to go and get the foam tape and its packaging so that you can see what that looks like. And again, I get that from Dollar Tree for about $1.25. And what I do like is that this double-sided foam tape comes in 3 different layers. So just gonna remove that pop dot adhesive and start putting this foam tape onto the cake topper. On this one, I put 3 different strips on there, and then what I will do is to remove that paper backing from it, and then I'm going to put another red layer on top of it. Gonna try to get it as centered as possible, just so that the overall cake topper will look really good, and you can see me putting that extra layer on right there. And then just press firmly just to make sure that the pieces are sticking together. So yeah, that's just the process for your 3D layer or 3D effect. Just gonna cut some more strips of that double-sided foam tape. Your strips can be as short or as long as you want them to be. I don't have a methodology for how I'm cutting this. I'm just cutting it and putting it on the layers. So then I'm going to remove that paper backing again, and then just going to add that 3rd layer on top, and that will be our base for our cake topper, for our shaker cake topper. So just layer that on as centered as possible, and then press down firmly. And you can see the 3D effect going on right there. So then what I will do next is to get this thin double-sided foam tape, and what I'm going to do is to well, that blue piece is going to hide that thin foam tape. So this is the layering of the overall cake topper. So what I'm going to do is to put that thin double-sided foam tape around the edge of my 3D layer, and I'm going to use some scissors to cut and put it down because you know, this is a circle, and you know, it's a little hard, but what you want to make sure is that you don't leave any holes in between your double-sided foam tape, because if you do, your confetti will fall out. So I'm going to speed up this process. You can kind of get the gist of what I'm doing, but again, make sure that you don't leave any holes in your when you're laying down this double-sided foam tape. So this is what it looks like after I have put all of the double-sided foam tape down. Again, make sure that you don't have any spaces between your double-sided foam tape. Then you'll take your confetti and pour it inside of your cake topper. Don't put too much, but then make sure that you have enough so that, you know, the concept of the confetti inside of that cake topper can show. So if you need to, you may need to space it out a little bit so all the confetti is not stacked on top of each other. What I'm going to do next is to take, you can see me holding up that acetate now. It's going to go down on top of that double-sided foam tape. What I did not show you, what I did was to peel off all the paper backing on that double-sided foam tape. So you want to be sure to do that before you put your adhesive tape down. I cut that part out of the video, but as you can see, this is our shaker component now. So yeah, I'm just shaking it up a little bit so you can see that confetti moving around. Again, make sure that you don't have any holes within that double-sided foam tape, because if you do, that confetti will fall out. So now I have my blue layer, and it's gonna go on top of the cake topper like that so that you can hide that double-sided foam tape. Going to use my Barely Art glue to put that blue outline down on top of that acetate. Just unscrewing the top on that, and I'm going to put the little needle head on top of that Barely Art glue and screw that on. I absolutely love this Barely Art glue because of that little head on that, or the little tip on the on top of the glue, and I like that you can switch out the different tips. So what you'll do now is to just add that that glue all the way around the cake topper. Don't put too much, but make sure that you have enough so that your cake topper, or this layer, will stick to your cake topper. Okay, and you can see me going back around again just to make sure I have a good amount on there. So then you will make sure that when you lay this down, that it covers the double-sided foam tape. Again, that's why it's important to make sure you have that thin double-sided foam tape. If you had thicker double-sided foam tape, you would just need to make sure that this blue layer was thick enough to cover up that double-sided foam tape, or I guess I would say wide. If you had wide double-sided foam tape, you would want to make sure that your blue layer was wide enough to cover up that tape also. So this is what it's looking like. I'm going to take this yellow layer next, and then I'm going to put some Barely Art glue on top of that also so that it can go on my blue layer. I will say that you may have some double-sided foam, those corners from where we cut it, you may have some of those corners sticking out. But once you're done putting your cake topper together, I would say let it sit for about 30 minutes, and then you can take your weeder tool to kind of clean up those double-sided foam tape pieces that are sticking out. I'm going to show you how to do that towards the end of the video, but I just wanted to go ahead and add that in. So again, I'm putting that Barely Art glue on my yellow layer, and then we're going to lay it down on top of the blue layer and try to get it as centered as possible, and use your fingers to press it down firmly just to make sure that it sticks. And this cake topper is really starting to come together, and what I love about this cake topper is that it's very easy to do. It doesn't take a whole bunch of time. You can definitely make this cake topper in under an hour. So you see me here, I tried to use my scissors at first to just clean up some of that double-sided foam tape, those edges that were sticking out, but what I'm going to do later is to use my weeder tool to do that. As you can see me doing here, I do recommend waiting until your cake topper, like all the glue pieces, are finished. So I'm just going to cut this part out and start putting together the happy birthday layers. Now I'm going to work on the happy birthday offset. So here I'm going to use those pop dot adhesives and put a few pieces onto the cake topper, because again, this is a 3D shaker cake topper. So as you can see, I'm just putting down those double-sided foam pop dot adhesives, and then I'm just going to stack the 3 layers together. So I'm going to speed up this process. Obviously you need to remove the paper backing before you lay down the next layer. So I'm just going to speed through this process, and I will come back when it's time to put down the adhesive vinyl. So the happy birthday outline or offset is done, and now we're going to put our adhesive vinyl on top of that layer. So I have my transfer tape, and you want to make sure that your transfer tape is not super sticky. If your transfer tape is super sticky, it's going to stick to your cardstock and it's going to start peeling off your cardstock. So you want to make sure that your card or your transfer tape is not super sticky. So I'm using a piece of transfer tape that I've used before, and in this video my transfer tape was a little bit too sticky, and you're going to see that I had to kind of work it to get it to stick to the cardstock. So just make sure again that your cardstock or the transfer tape is not super sticky. So you want to make sure that you put the adhesive vinyl on top of or center on your 3D layer, and then you're going to take a burnisher tool or scraper and just press down a little firmly so that your adhesive vinyl can stick to the cardstock. Again, this may take a little bit of working, and as you're going to see right here, it's not really sticking the way that I want it to, so I'm literally going to have to peel and push, and that's, you know, peeling off a little bit and then pushing it down firmly with my finger, like what I'm doing here. And it took a little bit of time, but I like the finished look of it. Obviously, if you don't want to do this part, what you can do is to just cut out happy birthday with some cardstock and just use that barely art glue to glue it down. This did take a little bit of time, but again, at the end of the day, I was satisfied with the finished look. So just know that you have different options. And I'm just going to speed through this part. As you can see, some of that cardstock started to come up. So I'm just going to speed through this part, and then I will come back once I have applied that adhesive vinyl to the cardstock. So the adhesive vinyl is stuck to the cardstock, and you can see what that looks like. Again, you can also cut out these letters into some cardstock and apply it with some glue. There's our finished shaker component, and what I'm going to do next is to take my hot glue gun and then add it to the back of this happy birthday 3D layer, and then I'm going to press it onto the shaker component of the cake topper and try to get it as centered as you want it, as centered as possible, and press down so that your glue can stick. And that's basically it. All that's left to do now is to take our clear stirrer stick, or you can use a bamboo stick also, and put some, that's the clear stirrer stick that I'm going to use, put some hot glue on the back of that stick, and then you want to make sure that you center your stick in the back of the cake topper. The first time I applied it, the clear stick to the back of my cake topper, it was not centered, so I had to hurry up and pull it off before the glue got too you know, before the glue dried on it. So it's, be mindful. See that stick is not centered, so I'm going to peel it off and try the second time. I think I struggled a little bit the second time also, but you know, it's a learning experience. Try to make sure I get it as centered as possible again, but once that part is finished, your cake topper is finished, and then you can just go back in with your weeder tool and clean up some of those double-sided foam tape edges that are sticking out. But yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed this video on how to make a happy birthday Cricut shaker cake topper. That is a mouthful, but I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below, and also be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you have already, or if you have not already done so. And also, if you want to support the work that I'm doing here on my Cricut YouTube channel, be sure to, support me through Venmo or Cash App also. Thanks for watching.